Hey y'all, it's Savannah, and let's talk about the Chattanooga Comic Con. So this last Saturday, October 26th, my fiance Cole, myself, and his younger brother Aiden all went to the Chattanooga Comic Con. If you've been keeping track, this is the third Comic Con we've gone to this year, and they have all been just so much fun and amazing, and I have absolutely adored having this chance to go with the love of my life, and in a couple cases, his brother and my sister. So the Chattanooga Comic Con was held at the Chattanooga Convention Center, which is close to the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga campus. So it's not the nicest part of town, but it is a good space. The building is very large. It has a lot of parking in the surrounding area, and it was a very decent place to have it in a city where I don't really know of many event spaces. But it was a very unique experience compared to the FarleyCon back in August and the Fanboy Expo in Knoxville that we went to in July. Each one has been very fun and unique, and I've just loved having these experiences and enjoying them and doing something that I had been thinking about wanting to do for a while but never had the opportunity or anybody who would want to do it with me. But before we get on too much farther, let me show you some of the clips I took from Saturday. Now, first things first, yes, Cole and I did cosplay. He has been showing me an anime this last year plus, since we've been together, and it is called Fate. There are a few iterations. The ones that we have watched have been Fate Zero and Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, and the character that I cosplayed as is Saber from both shows, and he has cosplayed as Archer from Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works. It was so fun. We had not cosplayed for either the Fanboy Expo or FarleyCon, and so it was so interesting being on the other side of it, because at both other cons, we would point out cool cosplays and all that stuff. I asked at the Fanboy Expo to take a picture with a really cool Batman, and it was so cool just to be so excited to cosplay as characters. Sorry, that was Georgie jumping on my bed. But it was also just so nice because we had several people ask to take pictures with us. And Fate is one of those animes where you're not sure if anybody has really watched it in this area. First, because it's the southeast of the United States, but also because it's not one of the like super popular ones like One-Piece or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or, you know, shows like that. I don't know a lot of animes, so those are like the ones I just thought of. But we were stopped and we were like, I love your cosplays, can I get pictures with you? And so it was so, it just felt nice, I guess, because I was like, at least we didn't dress up and nobody recognized us. But it got to a point too where we were joking with his younger brother Aiden, like, you're just our paparazzi guy, that's why we brought you. But Aiden was such a good sport about it. He, after a few people, was just like, alright, where's the phone I'm gonna take the picture with? So he was such a good sport about it. He's a nice kid. But yeah, it was also really odd for me because, as you can tell, I am not blonde. But I was walking around with a wig that for like the first hour and a half I had it on felt like it was 20 pounds. And I feel like it just washed me out more. Georgie, you're making a lot of noise, baby. You're making a lot of noise. Are you good? Are you good now? Can I keep talking? Sorry about that. Hi, Georgie. But, I feel like the blonde really was just, like, washing me out, and I looked so different. It was such a weird experience for me, but I don't know how people do it with those, like, super intricate, long wigs. Because I was struggling with just the updo that my wig has. And I mad respect to like professional cosplayers and everybody who wears the insane ones. The size of the booths and everything that the convention had was more on par with the size that FarleyCon had. It was just in a larger space, so that there was a lot more area for people to be able to walk around in and not feel so crammed and feel like they're bumping into everybody, which was very good considering that the line to actually get into the convention center and get your badges and wristbands was starting to wrap around the outside of the building, and then there was still a good wait inside of the building to get to the check-in booths. But there were a lot of really cool booths. I was very excited because Fanboy Expo had at least 3 booths of people selling swords and daggers. FarleyCon had none, but the Comic Con had one, My only issue was that some of them looked like they were really poorly 3D printed, and I feel like if you are going to buy a weapon at a Comic-Con for display or for a cosplay, you want it to be at least metal. But that is just my opinion, and no shame to anybody who has 3D printed weapons. But it was also really cool because in these clips you can see that one of the booths, a woman has taken old, very heavily discounted comic books, cut some of it out from the comic book, and put them onto a folding table, and then covered them in resin, and then covered that with a layer that makes it food safe. And so you just have these tables with comics on them, which was just so cool. Cole was not as much of a fan of that because he was like, I cannot imagine cutting pages from a comic book for something like that. But I thought it was really cool and would honestly love to have one day. Another really cool vendor there was right next to that one, and was just chock full of volumes of mangas just wrapped together. Like if it was a series, they were wrapped together, and they had so many. Like, I'm not even joking. I don't even think that this clip that it shows that one in has all of them in there. But they also had boxes of posters, which were the scores for themes and just songs from movies and TV shows, but they had characters from them on them as well, and they were so cool. Like, I hope I see that vendor again because that was just so cool. Not only have I never seen the posters like that, we've not even seen a vendor dedicated to the manga part of it. Like, most vendors selling reading material at these cons have been comic books, comic collections, like the books that have different volumes in them that are from a storyline, or just graphic novels, not mangas. So that was really unique. Cole checked to see if they had any of the Fate Stay Night mangas, because those are really hard to find in English, and not all of them are translated to English. He only has a few of them, and he actually brought one of them and was showing them to people who were asking what we were cosplayed as, who didn't know the show or the manga. So that got pulled out, and a surprising amount of times actually. But it was just another one of my favorite vendors there. Really enjoyed it. But one of the main reasons we were going to that one was to check out our favorite comic artist, Vegan Poochcars, however you pronounce his name, I'm never sure. If you don't remember, we met him at the FarleyCon. He is a comic artist for several different titles. What we have met him for was he has done Last Round in 2 covers, which Aiden got. I, at the FarleyCon, got a signed copy of his Scarlet issue 1 cover. This title is from the Energonverse. That the Energonverse is what Skybound Entertainment, who owns Transformers and G.I. Joe, are currently running, and he did a cover for issue 1, which honestly is my favorite cover for this one. But he also just did a variant cover for Transformers number 13 for the Energonverse. And this cover debuted in the New York City Comic Con the weekend prior to the Chattanooga Comic Con. And when we met Deegan at FarleyCon, he had told us that he would have foil covers at the New York one, and he hoped that he would have some foils for Cole to get at the Chattanooga Comic Con. And when we stopped by the booth, he still had some of the foil covers left, and that was really awesome, especially since he recognized us from FarleyCon, although he did not recognize me because I was blonde and that completely threw him off. He recognized Cole and Aiden though. He also remembered the titles that we were interested in, which was really cool. One of the special things about meeting him at the FarleyCon was that he actually talked to us. He didn't care if he was missing people who were interested in buying a comic for him to sign or anything like that. He was just interested in us and why we liked these titles and everything. And he kept talking to us too at Chattanooga Comic Con. He also said that there were only 750 of the foil variants of Transformers 13. So that is like really awesome. If you are at all interested in comics and variant covers and everything, you know that those rarer covers are harder to get, harder to find, and more expensive. So the fact that Cole got one of 750 foil variants and got it signed for only $30 was just really crazy and just really awesome. But we are interested because he is going to be doing more covers coming up, and so we are very excited to see what he comes up with next, because he's an amazing artist and just a really great guy to talk to. I will link Deegan's Instagram in the description below if you guys are interested in him and his art. Just, he is such an amazing guy and deserves all the love and support. We also saw a mystery machine there. It was right next to the booth where Scott Inez, the voice of Scooby-Doo, was set up. And while we didn't meet him or get anything signed by him or anything, because we just did not want to spend that money, because we are trying to save for a wedding, we did get pictures in front of the mystery machine, and so yeah, I will put that photo in one of these corners. But yeah, it was a really cool one. I did get a couple things at this Comic Con. I really am very proud of myself because there were a few things that I was interested in, but I limited myself because, like I said, we are trying to save for a wedding and a house and all of that fun stuff. I got the #1 issue of New 52, Red Hood and the Outlaws. I have the Future's End issue #1 for Red Hood and the Outlaws, but I do not have this one, and I have actually not seen this one before, and so I grabbed it while I could. So there's that. But I also got this bundle, which is Red Hood, The Lost Days, issues 1 through 6, which is the full run of The Lost Days. I have been looking for these for so long, and I found all of them in one place, so I grabbed this while they were there, because my comic interest is largely Batman and the Robins, and if you did not know, Red Hood is the second Robin's adult persona, which if you don't know the rest of his story, I will not spoil it, but I was very happy to see these, needless to say. We are interested in at some point going to possibly one of the bigger ones. We heard that Alabama, I believe Huntsville, has a really good one. New York and San Diego are, of course, dreams. But we are very happy with these smaller local ones that we have right now. Pigeon Forge is actually having one in early December that we are looking at possibly going to. But yeah, I guess all you crochet folks here are interested in my Bumblebee bag that I was making for it. Now, Bumblebee here is admittedly a little rough around the edges. I was rushing to finish him because Friday night I had to stay up late. I had worked that day and I had to make cookies, made about 5 dozen cookies because my dad's 60th birthday party was Saturday night and I wouldn't be able to do it Saturday morning because I was at the Comic-Con. So I was rushing to bake cookies and finish Bumblebee. Now, he's not honestly as rough as I was honestly expecting with trying to assemble him last minute, but I did have to leave off the legs just because I was exhausted and did not want to try and do that completely exhausted and have it turn out awful. So he has legs, but he is currently legless. But I did make some size changes from the Optimus pattern, other than the design changes, obviously. The body is a few rows taller than Optimus's, which is very funny considering that in the cartoons and movies, Bumblebee is barely taller than a human and Optimus is gigantic. I made the flap a shorter width, and that obviously influenced how the flap worked lengthwise. But other than that, the length of the straps is also a little bit shorter. And I added this little grab handle. I'm totally blanking on what they're called because I had trouble picking up Optimus without one. So he's legless, but he is functional. So he actually held up really well. I will post a picture of me wearing Bumblebee, and Cole wore Optimus because he was worried about being able to actually use his pockets with the kind of skirt piece his costume had. But the fact that the straps are shorter, I think really helped with the fact that Optimus has kind of got stretched more, but also the fact that I had to do the bottom and top in yellow and then make a gray piece and attach that for the accuracy to his color, I think also really helped in the stability of the straps. I will attach the legs and then tech edit the pattern and post that for anybody interested in the Bumblebee bag. But yeah, I believe that is all I have. Thank you guys so much for watching, If any of you have any fun Comic Con experiences, please let me know in the comments down below. I will see you guys next time, but until then, happy crocheting!